we're a wounded society, and and its dysfunctionality is now becoming apparent, through the political situations. I mean, I am just baffled by, a government, a president who basically likes to hurt people. I mean, that seems to be it. It's this culture of cruelty that has been created, and
well, particularly if he feels slighted. He wants to come back at you extra hard.
Yeah. And it's a reflection probably of his childhood trauma. I mean, I think his father was very abusive. Now it's his chance to get revenge, and I mean, he's the kind of guy who...
Wouldn't you love to take him?
What's that?
Wouldn't you love to take him for a trip?
I don't think it would do any good.
Really?
I don't think it would do any good.
Why not?
Because I don't think there's a core there. I mean, I don't think it would help him. The curandero I've worked most with told me, there are two kinds of people I will not give ayahuasca to. One is sociopaths, and the other is schizophrenics. Trump is a sociopath. He has no interior. He's never had a reflective moment in his life. That's what concerns me. It's all external. He's like pure id. He is a 6-year-old, an angry 6-year-old.
If we met him at 16, would you have hope for his future? Or when is a person beyond reproach or beyond help? Like what is the year? See, we have this idea in our minds that when a certain age is reached, that a person is just firmly established and there's no more growth.
Yeah.
You see someone who's a 60-year-old fool, that's a dying fool. He's going to be a fool till his last day on this planet.
Yeah.
Why is that, though? Why do we just assume that someone lives a certain life, has a certain amount of time here, that they're not going to learn? Is it just because of our own past experiences with these types of people? Or are we imposing a limitation on their growth? I'm very curious about that, because we do that. We assume that if someone fucks up when they're 20, well, they'll get better. They're going to evolve.
Yeah.
But if they fuck up when they're 70, we're like, that guy's a goner.
Well, we make that assumption. Yeah. And it may not be true. I mean,
it's not fair, I don't think.
In a way, it's not fair. I mean, especially now what we're learning, the other thing that psychedelics do that is kind of a new thing that we're learning is neuroplasticity.
Yes.
It actually reorganizes connections in the brain. Psilocybin does this, and presumably the others do too. Some of the phenethylamines do it. So that's a new thing. You can actually change the connectivity of these systems. It's probably not fair to say. I mean, my friend who came with me, he made a point when we were discussing this. He says, you shouldn't hate Trump. He's used to that. You should love Trump.
Yeah.
I said, it's real hard for me to love Trump. Yeah. But I think the point that he's making is that Trump is not the cause of it in some way. He's the symptom of what's happening, and he's the disruptor. But the disruption is happening anyway. And so in some ways, maybe we should be grateful to Trump, because he's making he's making it so in everybody's face that people are questioning everything, and that's a good thing, because this system, it can't last, So there's going to be a transition that's going to be pretty rough, and Trump is just part of that, not in any conscious way. He's as much the victim of the times as anybody else.
Right, and of expectations.
He just happened to be president and has his finger on the nuclear button and a few other inconvenient things. Otherwise, he would just be dismissed, as an old, cranky old guy railing at the television.
He was fun before this.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, before this, he was, you're fired. He was the rich guy with his name on the big buildings.
Right.
He was a caricature. He wasn't. It wasn't what he is now. What he is now is he's exploited this vulnerability in the political system that we essentially have popularity contests to choose our rulers. Mm-hmm. And the idea of that at first was to pick the best one based on public perception. But that's not what it is anymore. Now it's like we are so jaded as to how well this system works and as to what's significant and important about it. And we just want our guy to win. Now it's our guy. And Hillary represented the bureaucrats. She represented the red tape and the career politicians, the proven liars, the ones who are starting these Clinton foundations and making hundreds of millions of dollars and giving these speeches and making hundreds of thousands of dollars talking to bankers, but won't release any of the transcripts. And enough, we got to drain the swamp. And this guy was our guy to drain the swamp for the people that voted for him. And this is... and
then he came on, and it turns out he is the swamp.
The swamp is inescapable.
So the system is completely broken. Yes. I certainly don't think if we elected Hillary, it would all be good. It would still be a mess. But the problem with Trump is, he's immune to facts, for one thing. And the man is obviously deluded, possibly demented. Certainly a sociopath. And very impulsive. And this is not this is not the person you need to be leading the Western world because he's not reflective. He's not. It's all response. This is the petulant 6-year-old aspect of it. He sees something and he reacts immediately. There's no thought that intervenes.
He's often said that about his business deals. He doesn't plan things. He just goes on his instincts.
Not that great a businessman if you look back on. If you look at his business deals, that's the same with this Korea thing. If he can pull that off, more power to him. But I'll bet you it's not going to go anywhere because Kim Jong-un and the Chinese who are behind it, they are very smart, and they basically realize this guy is a buffoon, and they will be able to make a show on the world stage, but they won't give up anything. And people are already saying this. What did he actually come away with? Nothing. Some vague mumblings about denuclearization. We've had that before.
Well, it was unprecedented to see the leader of North Korea and South Korea meet at the DMZ and shake hands and travel back and forth.
That was unprecedented.
That was pretty fascinating.
That was pretty fascinating.
I think that's progress in some way, and maybe his lunacy leads to inadvertent progress, or maybe it's some sort of a. People are many things.
Yeah.
He can't be entirely foolish. There's probably a method to his madness. He never lost all of his money. You know what I'm saying? He really has been at least marginally successful. Well, really successful. He has gone bankrupt a few times. But the point is that this is a guy that he's probably pretty complex. As much as he is crazy, he's probably also pretty complex. And some of that might benefit us. Because we have this fucked up system that's undeniably fucked up. It's just a terrible idea, though, and it was an idea that was constructed, in 1776 when it made sense back then. It was a great solution to the problems of the times. But we don't live in those times.
No, we don't live in those times.
Extremely complicated times.
Yeah. And also, we didn't have the media situation that we have now. This is also part of the problem, with the social media and everything. It's true. There's tons of fake news out there being produced on both. You cannot tell. So you've got the Trump, reality distortion field, right, which is reinforced by his really no pretense about ignoring what's real, like this whole controversy about the immigration and splitting up families and say, well, we're just enforcing the law. But in fact, at the stroke of a pen, he could change that. And we didn't enforce it that way before. But
he's changed that, He just caved in, and now he's detaining all the families together.
Right. Yeah. Supposedly.
But it's nice at least that he's doing that. Like he's listening to public opinion, and the outcry has reached him, and he's reacted.
Yeah. But this is PR. It's not that he cares about these children or how many people has he already traumatized as a result of this. But I'm glad he changed it. But I'm sure that was a cynical decision. His advisor said, "Look, Donald, you're about to go to a rally in Duluth.
I honestly think it's coming from his wife.
Those folks are not going to like this."
I think it's coming from his wife.
This is going around today. This is a jacket she wore to
what she's saying?
meeting.
It says, "I really don't care. Do you?"
Yeah, and this was to a meeting of the immigration
Yeah.
kids. She's meeting
What?
the kids. Yeah,
What is that? Is that some fashion jacket?
that she wore to that event. Yeah.
What a stupid fucking thing to wear. I really don't care. Do you? Yeah, I care. Yeah, I do care. But what are we talking about? What a bizarre, open-ended question. I really don't care about what?
The tone deafness of these people. They have no sensitivity to
she's
how
an
it
open
looks.
critic, though, of separating children from their families. And she actually made a surprise visit to the Mexican border today to check in on it. Yeah, to see what's going on.
Good for her.
Yeah, good. Well, she's an immigrant. I mean, this is the irony of the whole thing. She barely speaks English. The whole thing is so bizarre. Is that his own wife is a fucking immigrant. I mean, clearly. The whole thing's crazy. It's really strange. But that jacket. Like, this is the sign of the simulation. Have you considered the simulation theory?
Yes.
Might be real. Might be real. It might be real. I mean,
well, sometimes I do wonder. I mean, it's like reality, whatever we choose to call it, is becoming so weird that I often ask myself, who is writing this shit? And can't they get a better writer?